What's up guys, and welcome to Wall Street Millennial. On this channel, we cover all things stocks and investing. In this video, we're going to go over the greatest gains and losses on the Wallstreetbets forum from the past week, so we can learn from other people's experiences. Before we get into the video, we'd like to thank our channel members, who get access to these non-time sensitive videos one day in advance. They also get to vote on some of our video topics. First, we have a true diamond handser who has lost hundreds of thousands of dollars on his $1 million portfolio. User Trading123456 was all in on DraftKings for 1.2 million big ones. He bought the stock of DraftKings right before a huge drop in the stock price. More recently, the famous short-selling research company Hindenburg recently put out a short report alleging that one of DraftKings' subsidiaries, called SB Tech, receives a significant portion of revenue from illegal gambling and organized crime. They say that this realization may jeopardize DraftKings' relationships with companies like the NFL, NBA, and other brand-conscious sports leagues. That comes on the heels of a 12.3% decline in DraftKings' stock price over the past week. Add it all up, and that means that this trader has lost $250,000 and with it, his millionaire status. He calls the Hindenburg report a hit piece and says he'd rather die than fold to the short report by selling. It seems that most Wallstreetbets members are bullish on DraftKings, and the comments overwhelmingly suggest the intention of using the dip as a buying opportunity. People are bullish on the company and business that DraftKings is in, but also seem to think that what happened to AMC could possibly happen to DraftKings as well. No one likes short sellers, but Wallstreetbets actively flies in Hindenburg's face by buying the dips. Good luck with your future plays. Next we have user NotHarveyWeinstein69 with a very favorable trade in Vizio calls. He has made a 25-bagger in only one day by having positioned himself perfectly for a jump in the stock price on Tuesday, June 15th. At approximately 12:30 Eastern Time on June 15th, Vizio stock shot up 15% pretty much inexplicably. There is no news about Vizio available on the internet, besides some analyst upgrades whose timing cannot explain the jump. The only logical explanation is that the jump was caused by a Wallstreetbets pump or some other market-moving buying pressure. Whatever the reason was, this user, who claims not to be Harvey Weinstein, was perfectly positioned to benefit from the spike. With 30 contracts of calls of unspecified strikes and expiries, he turned $270 into $7,350 in one day. That adds up to a 2,600% gain. Not bad for a YOLO. However, buying at the right time is only half of what it takes to make a good trade. As user Grundlemonster points out, unrealized gains aren't really profits until you make them realized gains. Vizio unfortunately could not hold on to most of those gains. By 1:25 of the same day, the stock had fallen back into red territory for the day, and only last-minute surge at the end of the trading day pushed the stock into the green for the day. 2,500% gains on paper is really nice, but we can only hope that the OP sold at least some of his position at the time this screenshot was taken. Next up, we have a Wallstreetbets ape who made $20,000 in a single day off AMC stock. AMC continues its meteoric run, today up as much as 10% at one point. This trader owns several call contracts of AMC of various strikes and expiries. He owns 6 contracts of 55 strike calls expiring in September, as well as 4 contracts of 59 strike calls expiring in July. With AMC currently trading around $59 a share, that puts all of his calls in the money or at least at the money. That, combined with a 10% rise in the stock price on the day of this post, allowed the value of his portfolio to rise $1,500 in a single day, for an all-time gain of $20,000 in this position. The original capital invested in the portfolio was only about $6,500, meaning that this trader made 300% gains on AMC. Every game porn on Wallstreetbets is sure to be met with enthusiasm from the fellow apes, and this post is no different. But there's always the one guy who tries to dampen the mood by saying that options are too risky and that shares are the true value of AMC. This comment is quickly rebutted by the OP, who points out that even the legend Deep Effing Value bought options on GameStop. According to him, a true ape would have no problem with owning options as opposed to stock. Next we have an insane diamond hand success on a Workhorse YOLO. Workhorse is one of the EV companies whose stocks went berserk in the later half of 2020. Although it wasn't a SPAC, it traded similarly to competitors like Lordstown Motors. As you probably already know, the first part of 2021 hasn't been quite as good for these EV companies, For example, with Lordstown Motors announcing that it probably won't make it through the end of this year financially, and with its CEO and CFO both stepping down. Workhorse has had its share of misfortune, including missing a key deal with USPS to provide their next electric fleet. However, that wasn't enough to stop Workhorse from doubling in stock price from late May to early this month, up from $8 a share to about $17 a share at the peak on June 9th. This trader found himself at exactly the right place at the right time, with $16,500 of out-of-the-money calls on Workhorse right before the move up. Now, with the calls almost in the money, they have appreciated by 2,100%, or a massive $352,000. That brings his portfolio value up to a grand total of $369,000. The OP amazingly got in on June 2nd, right before the volume started picking up. He chose Workhorse because he saw AMC go to the moon, and apparently guessed correctly that Workhorse would be one of the next ones. Workhorse and AMC might seem completely unrelated, but as the OP says, Workhorse was another heavily shorted stock and ripe for some attention from Wallstreetbets. In the end, his prediction came true, and he is now $250,000 richer because of it. Congratulations on this life-changing amount of gains. Unfortunately, not all Workhorse YOLOers on Wallstreetbets were able to make money on this one. This trader bought far out-of-the-money calls on Workhorse expiring in July. To be more specific, he bought 178 contracts for a total cost of $13,500. While Workhorse stock has had a good run overall in the last month, this trader bought at the top after doubling in stock price. Unfortunately, he also bought options, with strike prices of $40. At the time, the implied volatility of Workhorse was through the roof, and each option cost $1.30, despite being more than 100% out of the money. Since Workhorse stock failed to continue going up, implied volatility has come back down, as has the price of his options. They are now down to only 28 cents an option, for a 79% decrease in value. His total loss on the trade adds up to just over $18,500. The failure mode of this post is perfectly emblematic of what Wallstreetbets calls loss porn, but it doesn't end here. The OP also owns 70 contracts of $40 strike calls on Wish, also expiring in July. Like Workhorse, Wish has had a good run over the past month, but has since run out of steam. A $40 strike price expiring next month now seems like a pipe dream for this stock. The OP likely bought both Workhorse and Wish calls right when they had just spiked, and thus had very high implied volatilities. Now that the spike is over, their implied volatilities have come down, along with the price of the options. User Luca D's Nuts roasts the OP for buying calls after the spike. He makes the point that if you are buying far out of the money calls, hoping for the spike to continue after you buy, then it might not make sense to pay the extra money for a farther out expiry. In the only scenario where it works out, the spike will probably happen sooner rather than later, so paying for a farther expiry isn't giving you much. It might be better to just buy a closer expiry but lower strike price. Better luck next time. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video. If you like the content, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss future videos. Also, check out our second channel, WSM Research, where we post DD on high growth stocks. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching and we'll see you in the next video. Wall Street Millennial, signing out.